Hey everyone, welcome back to Build at Home. I'm your host, Brittany Jones Cooper, coming to you live from my apartment in New York City. Today I'm going to be chatting with the one and only Tim Gunn. But before we bring him on the screen, I just want to remind our viewers about the campaign No Kid Hungry. Because of school cancellations due to the coronavirus, 404 million school meals have been missed. And as we know, there's a lot of kids who rely on that food every day. So if you're looking for a way to help or get involved, go to nokidhungry.org for more information. Tim Gunn, I've been waiting to meet you. How are you?
Oh, Brittany, I'm better for being with you. I need some company, and specifically yours.
Me
so
too.
Thank you.
So first, let's talk about where you're at and kind of how you're writing out this social distancing period.
Well, I'm in my apartment on the Upper West Side, and I will confess, I am a homebody. I love nothing more than being home alone. So in many ways, this appeals to my sensibilities. But when it's enforced like this, I feel as though I have a bayonet in my back. It's a little different. And I'm happy to say I'm fine physically, but this is beginning to take a mental and emotional toll. What can you see outside your apartment windows?
So I'm actually not too far from you. I'm in Harlem.
Okay.
So just up on like the 118th area. And I'm across the street from a school that has no students in it.
Yeah. I have it's eerie. I have a view up Amsterdam Avenue, north. No cars, no people, just emergency vehicles with sirens blaring. It's really apocalyptic.
And it feels like more sirens than normal, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's just been constant, and you're happy that those, that's happening and that it's out there, but it reminds you of what's happening.
It does. And you realize these are people who are really, really, really sick, because
Absolutely.
those who are just sort of sick aren't in the ambulances. They're staying home. It's just frightening. And I have to say, yesterday's news was the most frightening of all, learning that at least 25% of the carriers are people without any symptoms. I mean, does that mean we could be carriers?
I think that's what that means, but I, from the beginning, sort of felt like that, because I was like, well, I've been around people who have now had it. I must be a carrier. So I'm just staying inside.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
For me, that's how we can each do our part, I guess, is just.
Yeah. Are you going out for groceries?
I've gone out like maybe 3 times in the last 3 weeks.
Me too. We're parallel lives.
Yeah, but I'm like you. I don't mind. I see all your books behind you.
Yeah.
I've been reading quite a bit and doing yoga. I haven't personally minded it, but I don't know how I'll feel 2 months in or.
I know. If you haven't read it, I have a book to recommend. It's completely enthralling. I'm reading it for a second time because there's so much content. It won the Pulitzer Prize. It's a biography of Cleopatra by Stacy Schiff, and it's fantastic. You feel like you're with Cleopatra.
Wow. I'm very interested in Cleopatra, so that's fascinating. Who's the author again?
Stacy Schiff, Schiff.
I'm going to check that out for sure.
Please. I've been recommending it. It's just, it takes you out of this world that we're in, temporarily at least.
Yeah, I need to be transported. Making the Cut, your new show on Amazon Prime Video, actually helped transport me. I watched the first episode, and it is this very international show, and it did transport me to a different world. So let's talk about the show a little bit.
Well, those words make me so very happy, because Heidi and I were very apprehensive about the show premiering now, initially, because we thought, oh, what are we doing? Stepping into this horrible global crisis. And then we thought, Making the Cut is feel good. It lifts your spirits, and it's a fantastic distraction from what we're going through.
Yes. And it's, like I said, it's international. So the contestants are from everywhere. In the first episode, you guys go to Paris. And I think it just, again, like has that global viewpoint that we're all sort of hyper aware of right now anyway.
Yes, we are. Right.
So it was really a cool thing to see. And so obviously you and Heidi made a name for yourselves together on Project Runway.
Which we loved.
Yeah, this is a whole different show. So talk to me about the ways that it's different or new and some things that you guys got to do with Making the Cut.
Well, when Heidi and I decided to leave Project Runway, it was because we had this vision. And Project Runway's success was part of the obstacle in the path of making any changes, because people don't want to tamper with the success. So we were eager to make the show more relevant to today, and the global aspect is certainly that. And we were interested in looking at the broader picture of fashion, which sure can be about a pretty dress, but it's really about how does that pretty dress sit within the larger rubric of a brand.
Mm.
So brand discussions are at the core of the entire show. And we chose judges who understand branding intimately for just that reason as well. And I have to say the fabulous, almost surreal aspect of the shoppable part of the show, the fact that you can buy the winning look immediately, is part of an evolution in our conversations with Amazon. It was never in the initial discussion. It was, in fact, the whole notion of it made my brain want to explode, because I thought, how is this feasible? How can this even happen? But the Amazon geniuses got it to happen. And we've had 2 shows so far. And the winning looks they completely sold out in about 48 hours.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's so impressive.
Yeah. I mean, I'm blown away by it.
It's a testament to the designers. So in this show, the designers are all very sort of established. When you talk about branding, they have lines. Some of them have their own stores. Some of them have had collaborations with brands like Adidas. So how did you guys find these already pretty well established, but not, too established designers?
Right. Well, it's always a challenge. We cast a net and see what comes into the net. We had hundreds and hundreds of applicants. Heidi and I met with 60, and we narrowed that group down to 25, and then stepped back and said to the other producers and Amazon, you take over. You do this now. We're too close to the process. We believe any of these 25 could win this season. So step in and do it. And of course, you don't know how they're actually going to perform until they're in the environment and they get a sense of what the competition is, and they feel the chemistry of the other designers. But what a lovely, heartwarming group. They build a community together. Mm-hmm. They help each other. There's none of that squabbling and backbiting and throwing each other under the bus. And I'm saying that for the whole season.
Wow.
And there are plenty of opportunities to throw someone under a bus, and they don't do it.
And I know you mean it, because in that first episode, you got emotional when you were talking about your true belief that there's real talent in that room and in this competition.
I was blown away.
How does that feel for you? Because you've been in situations like this before, but to have that energy and that enthusiasm still, like, how does that feel for you that you're still that encouraged by these designers?
Well, it was magical. I mean, I have to say what propelled me forward in my teaching career for 29 years, and that's a long time, was how I always marveled at what the students were capable of. They always wowed me. Not all of them, but many, many, many of them. And to bear witness to an individual having an epiphany about who they can be and what they can achieve, and to see them get so excited by it. I have goosebumps right now just talking about it. It thrills me.
Yeah. And that's why we love watching you, Tim, because you just have that passion.
I do.
And that just, you found your calling, and that's such a special thing to get to watch as a viewer.
Well, I grew into my calling because the first year that I taught almost killed me. I almost ended up in a straitjacket in a mental hospital.
Just the personalities, or what was it?
No, it was just, I was so nervous about having this responsibility. I would throw up in the school's parking lot. I would have to brace myself against the wall of the studio in which I was teaching because my knees were shaking so badly, I'd topple over. In fact, that's how I was the first time I met Heidi in 2004. I was so starstruck that my knees were shaking so badly, I actually had to grab onto her, and she looked at me as though, this is a little forward for a first meeting.
Wow. You're so calm and collected, Tim. I would have never known.
I've grown into it, Brittany.
And you and Heidi are such a dynamic duo now, too.
We love each other. And one thing that we wanted to do in this new series is spend as much time together as possible. Because on Project Runway, we have such separate roles that we barely even communicate because there isn't that opportunity. And on Making the Cut, we're together all the time. And I love that we have a vignette in every episode where we just go off and do something different that doesn't advance the plot, but it shows other sides of us.
Like you teaching Heidi what the word titillating means.
Yes. She's looking down saying, what have I done?
That was such a cute moment. We got to talk about the judges.
Oh, yes.
Because when you say star power, I don't know if you get any bigger than Naomi Campbell.
You don't.
as
You,
a
you can.
brunch.
Yeah. I mean,
I love her so much.
I do
Please tell
too.
me, how did you get her to be a part of this show?
We just threw the dice and thought, well, can't hurt to ask. I mean, it does help that she and Heidi are close friends. But I thought, oh, this is never going to happen. I mean, not only is it a huge commitment, it's a huge commitment if you're staying at home and going to a set. It's a bigger commitment to travel with us for 5 weeks.
Yeah.
So it was just a dream come true. In fact, this whole experience has been like that. The first meeting with Amazon was Heidi and I were pinching each other out in the parking lot, saying, this is impossible that this is happening this way. It's been like this the entire journey. It's just been, I mean, I'm pinching myself now and I keep thinking maybe I'll wake up from this dream.
Well, from what I read, it seemed like they really challenged you guys to challenge them as far as how big you could go.
Yes.
And so I think I read something about Heidi wanting like a workplace on a plane so people could be sewing, and they were like, no, but we'll let you go to Paris.
Heidi's still talking about that damn plane.
How did you feel about the plane? How did you feel about the plane?
Well, I'm always worried about turbulence. I thought, how janky will these garments be? Well, originally, I'll tell you what that corresponded to. Originally, we were crazy enough to think about having every runway show be in a different city.
Wow.
Can you imagine? So we would give them their assignment after the runway show. We get on the plane, they'd sew, get off the plane, and the runway show would then occur. So Amazon, they're so smart, they're so wonderful. They said to us, we really want a fashion show that travels as opposed to a travel show about fashion.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
But I love the empowerment to think big, and that's certainly what I took from the show, is that this is bigger, it's glossier. The designers are just top tier. I've been talking. My mom is a huge crafter and sewer, and we were talking about the show. And what do you think this community of fashion designers is looking for that's new and exciting now?
Well, I mean, quite frankly, they're looking to survive. It's so incredibly competitive out there, as you know, and it's one thing, and it's a requirement. You have to have a design aesthetic and work that corresponds to that aesthetic that separates you from the crowd. Heidi's always talking about breaking through the noise, cutting through the noise, because there's so much product out there. How do you do it? So the whole idea of having Amazon as a partner in all this is equally surreal as everything I've been describing.
Yeah.
With $1 million, the Amazon mentorship, the fact that your brand, your designs are available on Amazon. If you can't make it under these circumstances, you've had it, because it doesn't get any more supportive than this.
Yeah, you're right. I like that.
Yeah.
Also love that, like, straight talking Tim Gunn. That's why I was smiling. I was like, I feel like you're talking to me directly, and I feel like I'm one of the designers.
Well, and also the fact that those looks have sold out already. 100% of the profits goes directly to the designers.
Oh,
Amazon's not taking anything.
That is so cool.
I know. They have a huge heart and soul, and I love them.
I've been talking to a lot of people during this time about it being a time to spur creativity. So yes. I know the fashion industry on the other side of this is going to have some obstacles, like a lot of different other industries. But what are you hoping happens during this time as far as designers creating, and just kind of the future that can come out of this moment where everybody has to be still?
Well, no one's asked me that question yet, and it stirs my brain. I mean, I hope that the fashion industry comes out of this, and more specifically designers, with a real sense of what core values should be, and about how tenuous our environment is, and how precious a commodity it is, and to design accordingly, to really be thinking about an enhanced set of values. I'm not saying that they're not considering it now, but this is a moment to really hunker down and just ask yourself, what do I truly care about?
And I think we should all be doing that. Have you been doing that for yourself? Has it been a time for kind of introspection?
Oh, absolutely. If this isn't a time for introspection, what is? And people should engage in it. I know it's very unsettling for some people to really look inward, but we
Mm,
have to. And I cry a lot, so it's a moment to ask myself why. And sometimes it's
mm,
out of just pure joy or just being moved by the triumph of the human spirit. And sometimes it's just unconditional sadness. But it's
mm.
good to have emotions. It's not a good thing to push them back and deny them. It's good to
Yeah.
let them out.
Yeah, I think that time when you start to be when you can name your emotions, I feel
Yeah,
this is such an important thing, and it's constant work, right? We're all kind of constantly working on that. But like you said, if you're not doing that now, when?
it's the time. It's definitely the time.
It is the time. Tim, I really enjoyed chatting with you. I hope we can do it again in person one day.
I'd love to, Brittany. Yes, let's
Please,
make that a
anytime.
goal.
Please, anytime.
Thank you.
And thank you again for making the cut. I really enjoy the show. I've been a fan of you and Heidi for so long.
Thank
Like I
you.
said, I just really love this new show. I love the energy. I love the international appeal. And I love the clothes.
Yeah, they're gorgeous. Keep watching. There's a
I
lot of
will.
fun ahead.
I will. And there's new episodes every Friday, right? On Amazon.
Two episodes every Friday for 5.
Two episodes every
Yeah,
Friday on Amazon
yeah.
Prime Video. Make sure you check it out. And Tim, we'll see you next time. Thanks for
Thank
joining
you,
us.
Brittany.
Bye.
Bye-bye.